As many college students do, I practically live off of fast food and pizza deliveries. During my years as an undergraduate, I went to school in my hometown. So lucky enough for me that I didn't have to live on campus and suffer for the cafeteria food on a daily basis. Nonetheless, my eating habits usually moved a lot of things, like fried in grease and covered in cheese. Of course, back then in my early 20s, I had the metabolism to handle it. Now that I'm in my late 30s, I have sworn fast food forever. Yet, before you praise me for my healthy lifestyle, please understand, I didn't just do it for my health. I lived in a small apartment back in those days, a typical student dwelling on adorned garage sale furniture and movie posters. It was a humble place, but it wasn't an expense, so I didn't have to get a roommate, and in a great part of town surrounded by shopping and restaurants. Since my apartment was on the bottom floor, it wasn't uncommon for me to come home to see a bunch of advertisements taped to my door, hung on the doorknob from my local businesses. I would often find coupons and takeout menus, and by now, I was amazed at what the type of collection I had. I was familiar with yet pretty much almost every restaurant in my neighborhood. I knew the ones delivered and which ones didn't. I knew which ones stayed open and which ones were fast or slow or generally overpriced. I guess you could say that I ordered out far too often. One night as I was studying for an exam of the late hours of the night, my stomach began to do all that too familiar rumbling, as so many times before, disrupted my ability to concentrate. As usual, I had been so wrapped up in preparing for the finals that I had forgotten to eat dinner. And as usual, I would resort to some late night delivery. It was approaching midnight, so I knew that my regular places would be closed by now, especially in it being a weeknight. I shuffled through the collection of takeout menus in the drawers, only to decide on who to call. The only places that delivered this late were pizza joints, but I wasn't in the mood for pizza. Not again. I was about to give up and dial the nearest pizza place when I came up across an advertisement that I hadn't seen before. Or at least, I didn't remember having seen before. It was just a square piece of glossy paper that looked as if it was been torn from a magazine, or from one of those inserts that they put in the newspaper. Strangely, I didn't remember seeing it this torn out, but yet again, I had been in the fog constant studying for nearly 2 weeks, so perhaps I have saved this and just forgotten about it. The ad featured a cartoonish clown mascot holding balloons, and beside him was just a comic style of a speech bubble with the words Carnival Burgers, now open till 3:30 a.m. We deliver. Beneath the speech bubble was the telephone number. I had never heard of Carnival Burgers before. Was this a new place? I had reservations about ordering a burger by delivery, but I thought, well, why not? I mean, how bad do you have to be to mess up a burger? I dialed the number and only rang once before a voice picked up on the other end. Thank you for calling Carnival Burgers. Would you like to try our special house burger? The voice sounded almost electronic, as if it was pre-recorded. No thanks, I said. I'd like to place an order for delivery. Excellent. I would like to be happy to take your order, sir. The electronic voice replied to upbeat manner. What would you like? I'll take a hamburger with cheese, pickles, lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and a side of fries. Would you like mustard, mayonnaise, or our special house sauce? Mustard, please. Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly, and thank you for calling Carnival Burgers. The line then disconnected. I figured the person on the other end must have accidentally hung up, and I hadn't given them my address or payment information, and the voice hadn't given me my total. I dialed the number again to complete the order. This time it just kept ringing. I let it ring what seems to be a solid 5 minutes. With no one answered, I hung up and dialed again, and the same thing happened. The phone just kept ringing. I thought maybe they were just busy, which would have been odd, seeing it being so late and during the middle of the week. But maybe their burgers were just so good that maybe I had just gotten lucky getting through the first time. Doubtful. I tried one more time. Finally, about at least third of the line picked up. The same electronic voice spoke, but this time it sounded a lot slower and deeper, like if the recording had been slowed down. Thank you for calling Carnival Burgers. Would you like to try our special house burger? No thanks. I actually called a little while ago, and I think the line was disconnected. I never gave you my address. Oh, no worries, Jake. The slow electronic voice replied. Your order is on its way. Clicked. I never gave him my name. I suddenly felt a wave of confusion mixed with uneasiness. My logic brain had begun to wave a scenario which they could have known my name without me having it to give it to them. Maybe I have ordered from this place before, but I just didn't remember. Maybe they had some sort of number recognition software on their phone systems so that the repeat customers would be displayed on their database, or the caller ID of some sort. Maybe that was so why they didn't ask for my address. Perhaps it was already on file from a previous order, or maybe I did give him my name and just mistaken it I thinking I didn't. Not as much as I wanted the explanation to make any sense, I knew that I never ordered from them before. I could be absent-minded at times and forgetful, but not that forgetful. I never heard of the restaurant before, but I did have the ad on my drawer. I decided the most logical answer was the best one, that I surely must have ordered from them before. Despite having to talk to myself in this conclusion, I felt uneasy as I waited for the knock on the door. I couldn't focus on my studying, so I turned on the television to break the suddenly overwhelming silence of my apartment. I flipped through the channels. Being a broke college student, I couldn't afford cable, so my late-night TV choices were consist of infomercials, religious programming, and talk show reruns. I settled on some trashy talk show reruns, where the host was telling people who was and wasn't the father. When the TV signal was cut with static, a commercial popped on the screen. It was snowy with the sound quality being poor. A clown, much like the one in the printed ad, danced around in front of the small building with a green sign on it that read, Carnival Burgers. The same electronic over peppily spoke, "Come to Carnival Burgers, where the fun never stops. Now offering delivery." A phone number was flashed on the bottom of the screen, and a loud static dissipated from the screen and returned to normal. I turned off the TV. Just as the TV clicked off, there was a knock on the door. I hesitantly approached and peeked through the peephole to see a clown with balloons and even in one hand and a paper bag with Carnival Burgers printed on the front. I gulped and took a deep breath and opened the door. The clown smiled and said, "That'll be $8.66, please." It was the same electronic voice from the phone. I pulled out a $10 bill from my pocket and handed it to him. "Keep the change," I said, trying to mask my nervousness. "And thank you. Enjoy your order, and please call us again. Next time, try our special house burger." The clown handed me the paper bag. I took the paper bag and thanked him, and he stood there for an uncomfortably long time there, and I felt an awkward period of silence. He just stared at me as I slowly closed the door. I thought that maybe I should have asked him how he knew my name and address, but I let it go. I waited for a moment and then looked through the peephole, and he was gone. I had been so hungry earlier, but now I hardly wanted to eat. I opened up the bag and found nothing unusual inside. It was just my order. Just a hamburger with cheese, pickles, lettuce, onions, tomatoes, and even mustard with a side of fries. It was warm and smelled good. I felt my uneasiness diminish as my hunger returned. I ate the burger and the fries, and it was actually quite decent. It wasn't the best burger I've ever had, but it certainly wasn't terrible. After eating, I studied a little while longer before crashing about 2 a.m. A few days later was the weekend, and I was driving to my parents' house to spend the weekend with them. A couple of days from my mom's home-cooked meals and my comfy old bed was just the same thing I needed before finals week. They lived in town, so it wasn't a long drive, and I liked to visit them whenever I could. As I was driving, I came across a road with some construction. I followed the detour signs that led off to an off-road that I was unfamiliar with. I was aggravated, but as I said, I was relatively a short drive, so a small detour wouldn't make much of a difference. The detour guided me to an old residential neighborhood. There weren't that many businesses, just all houses, a small park, and then there was, on the corner of an intersection, was a building that I've seen on the TV ad, Carnival Burgers. I pulled into the drive parking lot and stopped. It was certainly the same building, but unlike the one on the ad, it was old and run down. The paint sign was faded to covered in dirt. Some of the windows had been broken out and replaced with boards. It looked as if it had been abandoned for years. I got out of my car and peered through the window. One of the windows inside were booths and tables, blanketed with dusts. There were even cracks on the walls and cobwebs draping all around the small amounts of furniture left on the side. And even one corner had the plastic statue, smiling clown holding a chalkboard menu with barely illegible words. Ask about their special house burger. I felt weak in the knees and pain in my chest. This couldn't be the same place. Once again, my logical mind began to rationalize the situation. That was obviously just an old abandoned location. The restaurant was moved and reopened somewhere else, but there was no "now located at" blank sign, but that was to be it. I got back in my car and continued to my parents' house. Later on at night at dinner, I asked my mother if she had heard of Carnival Burgers. My parents had lived their entire lives in the same town, so if anyone would know about it, I would ask her and she'd tell me, "Oh yeah, the old burger joint. It was shut down a long time ago, they said, for sanitation reasons. It was actually kind of a big deal when we were kids. We loved going there, sure. It was kind of a McDonald's knockoff, but it was fun. They had a clown that would give out balloons. What was his name?" My father cut in, "Jestro, because of his peppy voice and the weird voice of his. Some of sort of electronic voice box. I thought it was creepy. I thought it was funny. I thought it was sad when they closed it down," my mother said. My father continued, "They said it was for uncleanness, but the rumors are said that it shut down because of disappearances." He looked over at his glasses and spoke with meteoric tone for this effect. "Oh, those are just stories the older kids told us used to scare us." "What stories?" I asked. My father replied, "They said a lot of people in the neighborhood started going missing, and the only thing the cops could find in common is that each of them had ordered a delivery from Carnival Burgers on the day that they disappeared. Even weirder was that they had ordered the same thing, the special house burger." I decided not to tell my parents about my experience, and I have never eaten fast food since. And that, my little pretties, was Carnival Burgers, a curry pasta. I guess you could kind of say a burger curry pasta. All right, my final thoughts on the story: a really good curry pasta, to be completely and utterly honest. Now, I've never heard of this place, even though this is actually a pretty well made story. So with basically this curry pasta is about, it's about, this guy ordering, food from like a place that he's not familiar with. Which, here's the thing, when it comes to me ordering food from somewhere where I don't even know or haven't really heard of it, it can be kind of sketchy at times when you even see it at first glance. Like, you could kind of see, different things when it comes to certain restaurants. When you come to, to a different restaurant that you're not familiar with, you have to at least try different things, and that's a very good thing when you come to that. Now, this was actually a pretty good story. In regards to the fact that I'm going to explain what was actually good about this story. I definitely really liked that the grammar was really good. That's a definitely good positive that I do have to say, was that the grammar actually was pretty good. That's one thing I'm saying right now, that I really do appreciate the good grammar. Why is it that, people nowadays, make creepypastas with, bad grammar and that? That's a question I'm not really understanding why that's the case. That's the case with, creepypastas nowadays. But with this one, it doesn't go into cliche tutorial. It doesn't, go, 1 to 100 with cliches, left, right, and center. No. This creepypasta didn't go into that, which is a very good thing. Now, I know this is an old creepypasta, so I'm definitely saying right now that this is actually an old creepypasta. This old creepypasta was written, I believe, in the early 2010s. I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not really too 100% sure. But I definitely have to say that, this story actually makes sense, and it's quite believable. It's quite believable, to be completely and utterly honest. So that's definitely another reason why I love this. Like, the whole thing it went out, it's actually very detailed. And, I could actually see this, I could actually see this, being the case when it comes to, if you're going to order something else from another restaurant. Now, I have been to a few restaurants that I wasn't familiar with, but I eventually, tried it, and it actually worked out well. So you gotta always try new things. That's a positive I'm saying right now, people. And take this lesson from me. It's good to try new things. That's definitely have to say. Even if you haven't heard of the restaurant before, it's always good to try new things. And it's a very good positive that, this story actually played very well with this story. And I definitely have to say, this story actually worked out very amazing, with the fact that, the protagonist, is like explaining what is actually happening and stuff like that. And even the fact that the story actually, just explained very well done when it comes to, these details, and it actually is believable. Now, all of this I could definitely say is very believable. It's very believable and amazing that the story itself actually worked out really amazing. So it actually plays out well. So, I'm this story is on the Creepypasta Wiki, the regular Creepypasta Wiki. If you guys want to take a look at it, I highly recommend you take a look at it. If you want to take a look at this story, it's on the regular Creepypasta Wiki. So, with that being said, we're just gonna, basically begin with, what I really like about this story was that the grammar was really good, the sentence structure worked out well, the storyline was amazing, and I definitely have to say that this is all believable. And that's what I really do enjoy is the fact that the story is very believable, really well made, and pretty amazing. So that's definitely a good thing that I'm definitely seeing. I could see this being the case, which this is actually a believable pasta. So, another thing I could definitely say was that it's pretty freaky, actually. Like, if this actually was to be the case, this actually would be very freaky. Definitely saying that now. This actually would be very freaky, and it would actually be, rather something, to be honest. It's rather something when it came to that. So I definitely have to say that right now that this story actually was really amazed, really freaky. I could definitely agree with I'm sure most of you guys can all agree with me that this would be really freaky if it happened to, a McDonald's or something like that. Because I'm sure most of you guys would really agree with me on this one. So I definitely have to say, Carnival Burgers was actually one of my favorite creepypastas that I remember hearing this narration, at certain places. So I definitely have to say that this story actually was amazing, really well done, and I definitely have to say I really enjoyed this story. It was amazing. Taken by the fact, I remember listening to this story on Shadowrear's old channel before it was terminated, and I wonder if Shadow's going to re-narrate this one and do a review on it. It's possible that he might consider doing that, but I really don't know. But here's the thing. Um, I don't know who the original author is, just to say, because it doesn't say, because I can't seem to find who the original author is, but if I do happen to find out who the original author is, I'll definitely make sure to, give him or her proper credit, because he or her or she did a really good job with the story. Like, this story, to the author, you did a really amazing job with this story. So that's definitely a positive that I'm giving right now, is that it's very believable, well made, well detailed, and it actually worked out really well when it came to the story. So that's definitely something I really do appreciate, was that the grammar being good. So, I think with that being said, I guess I'm just going to wrap up the review because I already explained what I liked about this. Is there anything that I can say that I wasn't really a fan of? I don't see anything negative with the story. I actually found this one to be rather enjoyable. This is actually one of the classic creepypastas, so I'm definitely saying that right now. It's a great story, really well made, flat out amazing. It worked out beautifully. There's definitely time and effort into the story, so I definitely have to say the story, you did a good job, author. I really hope you are proud of yourself for writing this story, which I'm sure you are. Really amazing, well made, just flat out fantastic. That's the all I can definitely say about this story, is that it's believable. You did a really good job on this story, and I really hope if you wrote any more stories like this, I really do hope you really are proud of, as a writer you are now today. Okay, I'm going to say this right now, that this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story, 10 out of 10. Fantastic, really well made, believable, the grammar was really good, sentence structure went out well, storyline went well, and the creepiness just made it really interesting. So that's definitely a good thing when I say about this story. That's definitely a good positive with the story. Fantastic, really well made, and I sure hope that I could find the original author someday, as I as I can't seem to find it, but if I do happen to find the original author for this story, I'll definitely be sure to give him or her proper credit, because this story is just fantastic. Now, if you guys want to hear other narrations of it, there's other narrations of this story on YouTube, but I can also definitely say this right now, that this story is also on the Creepypasta Wiki. If you guys want to take a look at it, feel free to take a look at it. And you guys will be not disappointed once you see this, as this is a really awesome story. Okay. Anyways, what did you all think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what have you done personally to help make this story a lot better? Leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so then you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro, because I'm out of here. And I'll be catching you all in the next upload. Peace out.